What's up, guys? My name is Matthew. I love everything related to marketing and automation. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to convert a lead automatically into a contact when the contact is created. And this will be in Zoho CRM using a custom function. So we're going to go to crm.zoho.com. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Setup, Workflow Rules, Create Rule, and we're going to use the Contacts module, and we're going to call this Contacts Convert Lead. And we're going to run this when a contact record gets created. So anytime a contact record gets created, it searches the leads. If there's an email that matches, it's going to convert it automatically into that contact. Okay, so we're going to say all contacts, and then we're going to run the instant action as a function. Okay, new function, write your own, and we have to give this name. We're going to call it the exact same thing as the workflow, convert lead. And then display name, I just use the same exact name. And create. All right, so the first thing we need to do is tell the function what values it needs from this contact. So I like to use the record ID so it can pull the whole record of the contact. So we're going to click edit arguments, and we're going to call this variable contact ID. And that's an underscore, by the way. You don't use any spaces for your variable names. Okay. And we're going to, we're going to do a hashtag. We're going to type a hashtag, select contacts, and contact ID. So this will dynamically, every contact that gets created, it'll pull that individual's contact ID. And you'll see why we need that right now. So now that we have the ID, we can say contact record. Again, this is a variable. You can call it whatever you want, but we want to get the whole contact record. So we're going to say zoho.crm.get record by ID. Probably the most common one I ever use. We're going to select contacts, and we're going to use the contact ID. Now, I always say close this line out. And that, what I mean by that is do a semicolon, because like 90% of every line of code you write with deluge functions, you're going to end it with a semicolon. There's only certain cases where you don't do that, but 90% of the time you're going to close it out with a semicolon. So that's what I mean by that. Okay, so now we have this contact record. Real quick, I want to print this out to see if it works. So I'm going to use the info statement. So I'm going to type info, and then I'm going to just space, and then I'm going to put contact underscore record, and then close it out, meaning I'm going to semicolon. Okay. Now I'm going to save this and run it. And now it says, okay, give me a contact ID to use to like get to run this. So I'm going to go back to Zoho, go to my contacts module, and pick whatever record I want. Okay. And let me copy this ID. I double click it, and then I copy, paste, and save. This won't update anything. It just is printing out stuff. So look, this is the whole contact. This is every detail about the contact. Don't worry about reading this, especially if you're new to coding. It takes time and it's not worth it. But it'll make sense as we go. But that's the entirety of the contact that we're pulling. Okay, so I'm going to erase that line because we don't need it anymore. We know that it works. So from when you convert a lead into a contact, you need three things. You need the lead ID, which we'll get later. But from the contact, you need the contact ID and the contact owner ID, because I'm assuming you want to keep the contact owner the contact owner. You don't want to inherit the lead owner, So we're going to grab and then when we search, we need the email of the contact, right? Because we need to know what leads we want to find based on the email. So we're going to first grab the email just to get it out of the way. Again, this is a variable. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it contact email because that's what it is. And then now from this contact record, so from all this data that it got right over here on the right, from this whole thing, I'm going to grab from that. So I'm going to do period, get, parenthesis, quote, email. And then I'm going to go to the end of this and put a semicolon. And then now I got the email. I'm going to get the contact owner ID equals contact record. Now this is a little different one, but dot get owner, and then we have to do after the parenthesis dot get lowercase ID, and then we're gonna put a semicolon. Now the reason is if you see owner here, there's more curly brackets. So if you get the owner, it's gonna get this whole batch of data right here. So you just want the ID. You just need the contact owner ID. So that's why we did the dot get owner dot get ID. Okay, let's quickly keep moving here. We got the email, we got the owner. Okay, so we have everything we need from the contact. Again, I'm just gonna print these off real quick. Info contact underscore email and info contact owner ID, just to see what we get here. Okay, so make sure it works. So I'm gonna copy this ID. I probably already had it copied. Paste it here. And I'm just hoping it returns some values. It doesn't say error. If it says error, you got problems, you probably did something wrong. Okay, so just add a comment if you need help. Okay, so we got the contact's email, we got the owner's ID. That's all we need from the contact. Let's keep moving. So I'm gonna erase these 2 lines. I don't need them anymore. Now I have to search the leads. And when you're searching leads based on like a field name, like the email, there might be 10 leads, there might be 0 leads that you find with the matching email. So this is a list of leads, and then we'll get into that a little further. So let's start with search leads, because that's what I'm going to call this list. Zoho.crm.search records. Click on that. We're going to search the leads module, and this is tricky, but you do quote parenthesis email colon equals colon, then move out of this quote, and then do it plus contact underscore email plus quote parenthesis, and then now you close this out. That's just the syntax for this. So it's just saying email equals this contact's email. Search all the leads for that. Okay, so what I like to do is I say, I want to see, since this could be more than one lead, right? It could have 10 leads with the same email. We're gonna just see how many it finds. So how many leads did it find? And I'm gonna just info search leads dot size, and I'll click on size, and then I'll put a semicolon and see if it finds any leads. Okay, so I'm gonna save this, and I have that contact ID already copied, so I'm gonna paste it. And I don't think it'll find one. I didn't, so it says 0, right? Because I don't have a duplicate lead in here with the same email. So quickly, I'm just gonna go and copy this contact's email. This is a test contact, and I'm gonna put this in one of my leads. So then it will match that criteria. So I'm gonna edit this and paste. Okay, so we can go back now. Let me copy this contact ID again, and let's go run the code. So save and execute. Okay, it should find one lead because we just updated that one. Beautiful, okay. I like the size, the dot size argument, because you want to verify there is one before you continue moving. So I'm gonna say if enter search leads dot size parenthesis is greater than, where's that, 0. Okay, so, and I won't close this line out, so don't worry. So if there's more than 0 leads that it finds, then we have to loop through them. So if I say find all the people with brown eyes, it's gonna find a ton of people in the world. So I gotta say, okay, grab from this list of people that it got with brown eyes, get this first person, let's convert it. Let's get this second person, convert it. So it loops through each one. That's called a for loop. Okay, so we're gonna say for each, and I'm gonna say lead found, because it doesn't matter, this is a variable. For each lead we find in search leads, the list of leads. Next line, curly bracket. So for each lead found, now I'm gonna get that lead ID equals lead found, because we're going to the first lead it finds, dot get print or quote ID. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's all we needed from the lead. So now we found a lead, we got their ID. Let's info that, let's print that out. So info lead ID to make sure we got everything working right now. I already have that contact ID copied, paste. Cool, it found one. Again, that was from this line right here, the size that we printed out. And then we got the ID of this lead. Let's see if it matches. So 77463, 77. So it worked. Everything went perfectly. Now, last thing we have to do is we have to update this lead and convert it. So we have to have a map set up, which is like just saying, hey, we want to map this field with this value. Okay, so I want to map the contact ID with this lead. So the lead gets converted into this specific contact. And I want to map the owner of that contact to whatever the current owner of that contact is. I don't want it to change to the lead owner. So I'm going to say convert map dot put parenthesis. Okay, contacts. And then you go out of the quote and then do space or comma contact ID. Okay, then I'm going to put a semicolon, convert map. Dot put owner, comma, contact owner ID. That's from these values right up at the top, contact email or contact owner ID. Now the contact ID is the argument. Remember we set up that gets passed into this initially. Okay, so that's everything we need. So now we can convert the record. So we have to make up a name. So I'm going to say convert lead equals zoho.crm.convert. There it is. I'm going to click on it. And it says right here, it says, okay, first value it needs is a lead ID. What lead do you want to convert? Well, we have that called lead ID, literally. So we're going to put lead ID. But the next thing it says to put a map. And we made our map called convert map. So that's lead underscore ID, comma, convert map. Oh, and then just close it out with a semicolon. Now I want to make sure this works or it doesn't error. So I'm going to info this and I'm going to put words before this. So I'm going to say converting lead dot plus symbol convert lead. This will just print out if the lead conversion works or if it errors. So let's go look. Now, if you run it now, it's going to actually convert the lead. So don't do this with a real person if you don't want it converted. Okay. Save and execute. Oh, I messed up. Convert map. So it didn't find convert map. So where am I looking? Convert map in line 14. Oh, I'm so silly. Okay, so why would I do that? Okay, so you need it. So I should have done it like this. Convert map equals map, parenthesis, parenthesis. Okay. Now we're going to use the contact ID, which I have copied, I hope. Okay, cool. Now this should work. It should convert this lead with the same email into this contact. Okay, so let's try it. Okay, cool. Converting lead. So it printed it out. It said, hey, we found a contact. We're converting it. It doesn't say error, which is, you know, a good thing. Okay, so let's go back to this lead and let's refresh it. And it should not be here anymore. Awesome. So it said, hey, we converted this automatically. So now we're done with our code. You can also search by any field or any combination of fields. So say you want to make sure, you know, what if it's a husband and wife, they use the same email, or coworkers that are using the same email. Maybe you don't want to convert them. Maybe you want to use like a combination of their first name and their email. Like, okay, if this person is named Tim and their email is tim@gmail.com, then convert them. But if it's Greg and Tim, but they have the same email, you don't want to convert them both because they're different people. One's Tim, one's Greg. Or you can use like email equals the email or phone equals the phone number. So you can use all sorts of variations of search conditions. So I'll get into that in the next video. So now let's finish this up. Let's save this. And now it'll take us back to the workflow and we will save this. Okay, now the big thing. So this one's right here. It's turned on. You don't have to do anything else but test it. Okay, so now I want to create a contact. And I'm going to go find a lead that we have with an email. And so this is the lead, Michael Ruda. This is all sample data. So let's copy this email and let's go create a new contact. Okay, so I'm going to go create a contact in the contacts module. Doesn't matter anything here. I'm just going to put test, and then we're going to go and put the email right here and paste that email. This is a contact's email. Let's save. Or lead's email, sorry. Okay, so let's go check if that lead exists still. So this lead is the one that's the duplicate record, and I refresh it. Sweet, automation ran. Anyway, guys, it's always fun. Look forward to the next video. Have a great one, and get to it. See ya.